Welcome to the Open Floor Podcast. I am Rachel Nichols, sitting in for Chris Mannix. That is Evan Turner, sitting in for me, I guess, because I'm normally the one at the beginning of the week. I don't know how good a me. We talked about how good a Chris Mannix impression I could do. How good a me impression can you do, Evan? That's really the question.
I don't think I'm as cool as you, but I'm gonna try to keep up. So I bow down. I recognize the experience. I recognize. You come from the trenches, so I don't know if I put in that much work yet. So
that's true. But at 5'4", my NBA career was very short. So, we got to take all of that into account.
Well, it's probably as least impactful as mine, so don't worry about it.
That is not true at all. At all. Speaking of your NBA career, I want to talk about the Celtics. And, they've been on a roll. They're on a 5-game win streak. And, they've got the best offense in the league in that time. Jaylen Brown definitely putting together an all-NBA case, for first team. There are people in Boston who are talking about him for an MVP case. I would say that's just people in Boston. You guys got to slow your roll. But
it's surprised to say he should have won to be president. Like who? His mom.
Right, exactly. But look, Jaylen Brown has been good from the start, but now you've got Pritchard stepping up. You've got Derek White, who had a rough kind of start to the season, stepping up. I'm looking at some of this stuff. They have the fewest turnovers per game this season. They had Jaylen Brown has had more 30-point games this season than he had all of last season and the playoffs. And that was obviously in a good year for them. Kata has been impactful.
Kata's killing. He's not
right. What do you think of the way he's doing? Because that was supposed to be kind of a weak spot for them.
Yeah, I think he's been doing great. I think one thing besides like saying that you're good is, in the NBA, again, the masses to start paying more attention to it. So I've been a Celtics fan for a while. So like he and Pritchard's net rating, like their duo was like top in the league, like right behind like Bam Adebayo and Jaime Jaquez, even when the Heat started off super hot. So I saw him already playing well. I think it was just a point of wrapping your mind around a narrative of being like, okay, last year's over.
Right.
It might not look like Horford. It might not look like Porzingis, but it's working. And him stepping up and his success has been, as important as anybody's, as important as Derek White, even as important as Peyton Pritchard stepping up. He's been man in the middle and he's been giving like some very great minutes. And no disrespect to the backups, but you know a difference when he goes out and you have the Luka Garza's trying to guard the pick and rolls, and you have to really do it by committee. But I think he stepped up tremendously, and that's been a bright spot.
So. And I mean, it's funny you mentioned Horford and Porzingis. Look, Porzingis has been in and out of the lineup with, illness again. We've had that crop up for him this season. Horford, obviously he's Al Horford, but he has shown his age in Golden State as well. And so you kind of wonder, even if they didn't have this kind of fire sale in the offseason, once Tatum got hurt, so they could make sure that they weren't overpaying and cap money and apron and this apron and that apron, whether those guys would have been on the team anyway, even with even with Tatum. But I guess this is like a larger question I want to talk about with a couple teams on this podcast. I feel like the NBA owners have really been so reactionary in the way that they have created the rules over the last 10 years. Kevin Durant goes to Golden State. They become this crazy super team, go through the playoffs. Almost no one can get close to them. And there's this huge overreaction from the owners, and they created the Supermax. And the Supermax was supposed to, lure players into staying with the teams that drafted them, et cetera. So that was a reaction to one player on one team in one weird year where they had that big cap explosion because of a TV deal and they didn't spread it out the way they did this time. And also Steph Curry being a guy who was on a really amazing contract for being the best player, the MVP of the league because of his ankles. So you had all these crazy circumstances, but they created a league-wide rule. Now you've got the 18 aprons, as I like to call them, which is a reaction to, we don't want anyone to overspend. We don't want anyone to overspend. And that really limits the amount of time a team can be good. And the Celtics are such a good example of this. They were going to be a second apron team because of all of the salary they had. And this is a team that won a title and had a chance to, kind of get back in there to win another title. They would have probably had to break the team up because of all of the salary constraints. So you have created a team building situation here where you have really just so limited, even a good team with a really good front office, what they can do, that I went into this season thinking maybe the Celtics should tank. I know it's not like in their DNA and all of that stuff. And I know Missoula. I mean, I've known Joe since college. Like, that's not him. But
yeah, of course not.
Right. But I think it's fascinating. This team is third in the East. Now all the Jason Tatum, should he come back questions are kind of coming to the forefront. I just don't know what this team should be looking for from this season. What do you think they should be looking for? And how does that inform your opinion on what Tatum should try to do?
To be honest with you, I knew they weren't going to tank because they have a culture. And once you have something that plays a culture that you built, and I've kind of been close to it. So I know what Brad Stevens said. Obviously, Boston Celtics, whether you believe so or not, we want to win championships every year. So that's what you're going towards. So when I started realizing that, I just knew they weren't going to tank. I kind of thought that they really believe in the pieces they picked up. I think they really believed in Jaylen. I think they really believed in their sixth man becoming a very great starting point guard and still having an all-world player. So I think when that came down to it, they're like, hey, we can figure this out. I think we could be good enough to win. And the East is kind of down enough where we might be able to make a run and sneak up on people. So I think one thing that's a blessing right now is even when it looked like a rebuilding situation, you're still having iron sharpen iron and guys get in there experiencing before the big dog really comes back. So now when you're stepping back into it, it's almost like, yo, Payton's got a full season worth of being an NBA starting point guard which is one of the toughest, teams in the league. You got, big fella, Q Nitas. Yeah. You got big fella now. He's starting to fill his role. He's starting to get his feet up under him, and he's going to comprehend what it means to anchor a defense and try to be a championship big. And then you just keep moving on down the line. You got a lot of guys like Jordan Walsh stepping up, and he's starting to make his way as a championship defender. And now this is starting to look pretty good because you forget, not only do you have Jaylen Brown, who's going to be top 10, or some people say MVP, the big dog is coming back. And those two, whether you think so or not, you have to deal with those two night in and night out with a solid 5 or 6 before you really get more killers. Like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, if they get rolling, they feel bad and they feel confident enough. I like them versus the Knicks, man. I like them versus the Knicks.
That's my question, right? So I went into this season. I think, look, I have a little bit of a predisposition to feeling this way, and I know that I overcompensate, right? I am so I really think the NBA owners need to sort of take a look at all of the rules for team building and start from scratch, because there's been so much tacked on here and there that it's just not creating great situations for a lot of clubs in this league. That being said, the Celtics were never going to tank. We all knew that. And they are now possibly, we all talk about, oh man, the East is wide open. Is the East possibly wide open for the Celtics?
1,000%. 1,000.
Are we there?
Yeah, because you think about it, even last year, not to harp on the Knicks. I know it's different teams. They're playing a completely different brand of basketball, but it was wide open for the Knicks last year, and they let the Pacers come right in, and the Pacers nobody saw them contending for a championship run. You understand what I'm saying? And I think if, anything happens within that week, and like I said, it's a culture. A lot of those guys on that court have a lot of experience, and when you start adding up and Jaylen's playing at a high level, and it's about who's better and who's best. And I think the Celtics are going to start hitting a stride, and I think the East is open for anybody. I hate Philadelphia, but I think the Sixers have as good a chance as anybody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Is really like that.
You hate Philadelphia?
I hate Philadelphia with a passion.
This is a personal beef.
Yeah, no, but I think Philadelphia is really good. I like their top 8. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, so this begs the Tatum question, to stay on the Celtics for a minute, is that if you're Jason Tatum, who we know, there's some guys, I hate it when people say, oh, he's really competitive. If you make the NBA, you're really competitive. If you make the NBA, you love to play basketball.
So 1,000.
Stop with the Jokic doesn't really love basketball. You cannot be Nikola Jokic and not love basketball, okay? So everybody in the NBA is super competitive. Everyone loves the game. You have to work too hard to get there, not to be that kind of guy. There are also a subset of guys who are maybe have a little basketball sickness, I'll call it instead. Yeah. And I'm going to talk about Kevin Durant. I'm going to talk about Jason Tatum also, who
1,000.
Literally would rather go out and play basketball on a blacktop with, again, 5'4" me, if I was the only person available, than do anything else. Right. Yeah, and Tatum 1,000. Is just one of those guys. I mean, he was on the Morris Twins podcast last week, and he said, I go play pickup on the blacktop right now if they let me. That's him.
I mean, I talked to him this morning. Yeah, I talked to him this morning, and he's just I want to be out there so bad. Yeah, he's like, I want to be out there so bad, and it's like, man, you're not missing much. Not saying like it's bad, but like you literally just have to heal. Like I just think it's a sign from God to take a little bit of break, but he wants to hoop that bad. He's a pure hooper. He cares, and I think when it comes down to, bless his heart, he's a franchise player. Like
right.
He's a commodity. I don't think he views himself that way because he just loves the game so much.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like, yo, big dog, like it might not be worth tweaking just for 2 weeks worth of basketball, like, i.e. Brandon Roy, when it comes down to the rest of your career and what you quite possibly can do. But God bless his heart, he really loves basketball, and that's just what he wants to do. And I mean, he wants to come back. It's all about what makes sense for him personally and long-term and longevity. In those 3 weeks or that month or whatever else, you got to be sure that you're really ready. And, he works really hard. He's in a great space, but you just got to make sure you're really ready to be at that level. Even MJ, when he came back halfway through the 94, 95, you know what I mean? They built some false legends.
He didn't win that year.
Yeah, they didn't win that year. In basketball shape, leg shape, going at that high intensity is a real thing. It's a real thing. And no matter what, when you come back, it's not like somebody's going to be like, hey, this is an injured Jason Tatum. Like, no, they're going to check to see how hurt he is, check to see if he can play at that level. And, the team is going to rely on him the same way as well. Like, it's Jason. He's a superhero. You know what I mean?
Well, I love this. By the way, Evan Turner, NBA newsbreaker, because you talked to Jason Tatum just this morning. I love it. We talk about the NBA reporters in the game, Chris Haynes, Shams, whatever. And apparently, Mark Stein and Evan Turner, we're good.
Yeah. You can guarantee I've seen those people within the last week or so. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You got some shot callers, and it's like, bro, where did you hear? You don't know him, or you don't stop breaking news. That's not true. Like, do you understand?
All right, well, newsbreaker. So you spoke to Jason this morning. So is the idea that if he did come back, it would be just for the last, like, maybe few weeks of the season in the playoffs? Is that really like the choice we're talking about?
Oh, no, I don't see it now. I really don't know that much. I'm not that deep into it. So literally, it's just a conversation, be like, hey, they're back. They're looking good. Like,
right. He's eager, is what you're saying. He's just as eager as we would expect him to be.
Don't let this. Make sure you take your time. That's it. Like, don't rush back. Even you know what I mean. That's it. So I don't know what he really is going to do. I just know he loves to hoop, and I think whatever that's occurring is far beyond my head. And I think it's a family organization decision, and so it's a big dog decision. I have no clue. And like I said,
no, I just getting an insight into his headspace is very cool. So thank you for that. And hearing he's just as competitive as we would expect him to have been. I think it's a super interesting question because, I'm with you. Like, I have seen too many guys over the years try to come back too early, get more hurt. We know Clay, I'm not saying this is what happened with him, but we know he had to go through 2 really difficult years in a row, and it affected him for the rest of his career. So we don't want that to happen with Jason, but I also know how Jason is. And I just feel like this temptation, if the Celtics keep doing well, is going to be so there for him. I'm just curious, and we'll have to see kind of how that develops. But regardless, the Celtics are showing me a little something right now and developing as a team. And it's a good argument for why you play it out, right?
Yeah, 1,000. And shout out to Joe Mazzulla. And like, the same way we said about like Keita, like changing narrative on him, like give Joe credit for being a good coach and turning into a great coach. And I think sometimes it got overshadowed with being like, well, you have a top 7. That's unbelievable. You have one of the best teams ever. Like when I hung out with Joe this summer, we went to UFC 316 in Chicago. And I'm like, yo, what do you think? He's like, hey, I'm excited. I can't wait. Like, this is going to like allow me to try different lineups, do some different stuff coaching, and like really develop coaching. This is going to be a great year. Like there was no doubt in my mind that I thought they wouldn't be at this position. Like that's just Joe Mazzulla. Like Brad Stevens signed, once again, Brad's a genius. He just signed 5 killers for all the pocket change. Like for the next 3 years, they're on like death row contracts. And it's like you know what I mean? It's like I do. Crazy.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, bro. Up there, those dudes got it. Like I'm gonna bet my pension on it. You know what I mean?
I love it. Well, no, I mean, I do love, first of all, I think that Joe should get some coach of the year buzz. I totally agree with you. Yeah. And I do think it's interesting that this has allowed them to change their style a little bit. Obviously we know the past few years, the Celtics have been 3-point shooting or bust. I mean, they've kind of, taken that and pushed that to as extreme as you could get in the NBA. My philosophy when, Steph Curry was first turning the whole league into more of a 3-point shooting league is like, absolutely. And, the stat guys were always like, 3 is more than 2, 3 is more than 2. I'm like, yes, but 2 is more than 0, guys.
Yeah.
So even though, yes, if you have a great 3-point shooting team and you've built your team that way, that is a huge advantage. You also have to look at the personnel you have and take advantage of the shots you can make. It's not the ideal. It's what your team can do. And Jaylen Brown, I believe, is hitting a lot of these scoring numbers with 2-point shots. He leads the league. That's what I want to make sure I was checking. He leads the league in 2-point shots and a lot of those long twos. And I just think that has allowed them letting those guys take those shots where before they kind of hear from the bench, step back, take the three. I think that the flexibility of Joe to get to play around a little bit this year and of Jaylen to get to just be like, I've always been such a good mid-range shooter. Like, I'm just going to take these more often. I think that's been really cool to see too. You mentioned that you think that they could take the Knicks. The Knicks have won 7 of their last 8, friend.
No. Shout out.
Not nothing. The Mike Brown experiment seems to be working.
You're right, but sometimes, man, like last minute, Knicks left that door open.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks will leave the door open, and they have to prove it. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? And I think the Knicks know as well. Like, anytime you battle a champion, it's like, man, a champion, he climbed that mountain a different way. Like, so I understand the Knicks are really, really good. I love every time they win, the city is on fire. Like, even versus the Hawks, they celebrated a homestand split. Like, I love that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just think. But I just think right now, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmys and Joes and who's the best. And I think when you're coming out there and, what team sets the tone, and then from there, who can really, dominate in those moments. And the way Jaylen's scoring historically, when you're making it to the championship and guys are scoring at a high level, they're showing it at all 3 levels as opposed to just shooting tray balls and shooting tray balls and shooting tray balls. And I think Jaylen has stayed true to himself and trying to continue to expand his game, get to his spots. And obviously, he's shooting like over 50% from it too. So when everybody else is shooting 43s or whatever, he's still at least bringing in 8 or 9 mid-range jumpers, is attacking the rim. And, whenever you get into that paint, that's advantageous for your offense, and the defense hates it. So now that's when you're starting to spread and kick, and he's having a full all-around game.
Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at Victor Wembanyama going over. Doesn't matter the stat, over on Victor Wembanyama. So download the app today and use promo code OPENFLOOR to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code OPENFLOOR.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
I do want to just talk about the Knicks a little more, though, because they have won 7 of 8, right? I think we all went into the season, a lot of us, maybe not you, a lot of us went into the season picking them as the East favorites. Cleveland was kind of right up there with them. They obviously haven't had that good a season yet. We're a quarter of the way through. They have time to make it up. But also when we're a quarter of the way through, it's often tends to be what we see going forward. So we'll see. They've obviously had some injuries. Bridges, though, I want to get back to the Knicks because Bridges is playing so well. And he's a player I have always just loved to watch play basketball. And last season, he took such a beating, not only nationally, but really even from Knicks fans, right? About how he was playing and, he didn't have to adjust. I mean, he was in Brooklyn. It's not like he had to adjust to a new city like Damian Lillard or anything. He's trash. We shouldn't have given this up for him. And look, if they hadn't given up all those picks for Bridges, they maybe could have gotten Giannis this past summer because those discussions happened. And the Knicks just didn't really have enough to give at the time. And they might not again if those discussions come back up. But that is water under the bridge. And they have Mikal Bridges now. And I think he has been excellent. And especially now that OG has come back, they have the best tandem nickname, I think, of any tandem going in the NBA right now, because they're calling them Wingstop, which I think is phenomenal.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's actually elite.
That's so great, right? Wingstop? Come on, man.
Yeah, I love that. That's actually amazing. Usually, they ruin a good thing, but this is amazing. This is amazing.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think one thing about Mikal Bridges that, you know, sometimes the casuals don't really pay too much attention to. You know, obviously the greatness of Jaylen Brunson and the offense, how it was ran and how much responsibility he had, it took away from utilizing, you know, the great scorers like Mikal Bridges or unlocking an OG Anunoby. So when Mike Brown came this year, I believe he opened up that offense more where it's taking a lot of pressure off Jaylen Brunson where, we don't need to see 20, 40-point games this year. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, the difference of averaging 34 and the difference of averaging 28 might be the reason why we win and lose. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? And it's not for a negative sense, but it's like, hey, we took the ball out of your hands a little bit more so we can unlock and put more pressure on our opponents because now Mikal Bridges is on fire. Now because OG Anunoby's on fire. Now we, like you said, we have a crazy 2-man tandem and match up with you guys. We got 2 guys that can score 20, lock down the other wings.
I was going to say, and defend like crazy.
And defend like crazy. And then Jaylen, you're already a baller. And when it comes down to it, now you can start getting to the line, manipulating the game, and do this and a third. And if somebody stops you, you kick it back to the big purr, and he shoots it from 45 feet out. You just keep rocking. Like, this team was built perfectly to combat what the Celtics, were, full throttle, as well as going up against the modern day dynasty that is OKC Thunder.
Yep.
So, like, you're going to have to, those wings are going to have their night filled if they're going to make it to the championship and go up against the Thunder, because the Thunder is 9 deep. And Jaylen Williams.
Talk about that.
And Jaylen Williams.
Every time you start talking about them, you're like, oh yeah, they're just going to win the title again. So
but don't say, but you got to get somebody to stop Jaylen Williams and SGA. Yeah. You know how good Jaylen Williams is? Like,
no, amen.
Yeah. So,
totally.
So I love it.
I was going to say, you're totally right. And, what that has allowed Jaylen to do on his end is be fresher. His turnovers are low, 2.3 turnovers a game. I was not a huge fan of them letting go of Tom Thibodeau, just because I think at some point in this league, we're so quick to dispose of coaches. Yeah. And here's a guy who brought them to, game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and the record was, better than it had been in 20 years and all of the stuff. And at some point, don't we have to reward people doing well? Right. That being said, Tom is his own case. He wears on people. We know that. He'll tell you that. And Mike Brown, I'm also a big fan of, and he really does well in sort of making a locker room feel good and making these guys who are already good teammates with each other. They already had good chemistry, even better. The Knicks are right up in number 1 or number 2 across the league in the possession battle, which really, look, the same way with math, 3 is more than 2, but 2 is more than 0. Guess what? If you have the ball more times, you have more opportunities to score and more opportunities to win the game. So that is important. And I do think his system has definitely allowed Wingstop to shine. And, Cat was out the other night, but also, he's finding his way in that system too. So I'm keeping an eye on them. I'm keeping an eye on the Celtics. I did want to talk to you about the West a little bit though, because Dallas Mavericks are 4-1 in their last 5 games. We may be seeing some signs of life there. AD has been back. He's been playing the 5. Gasp. Obviously Nembhard has been a great story. Yeah. I was surprised he went undrafted. What do you think of the way he's popped in there and sort of how him running the point and the playmaking, which we know he's so good at, has changed that team?
You're right. I was surprised he went undrafted too, because he's so good at Gonzaga, and I believe he came from Creighton prior to that. Yeah. And I also think you gotta, if the brother's a baller, you gotta, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and comprehend, like, there must be something in that house, something in that water. But at the very end of the day, you just watch them and they knew how to play basketball the right way. So it's kind of like, what are the experts looking for? But I think in any situation where you're trying to find yourself or trying to rebuild, moments like this and times and players like this, they kind of arise out of like the cracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your rookies are able to develop. Like I said, you even have guys like Max Christie that's silently growing into 3-and-D guys, and you're having other people step up and make the most of the opportunity. And it's like, hey, this guy might be worth something. This might be worth something. Now we can put people back together, and you see whenever they're doing something, it kind of brings the energy back around to the older guys like Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? And it gets that type of energy to buy in, buy back, and be like, hey, it's only December, 4-1. That can turn us around. And now guys are like, man, we just want to make the playoffs, touch the playoffs, and have a little bit of fun with it, more so than just get the living, crap beat out of us, and then I risk my injury,
Well, okay. Now you're back to my tanking thing, though, and team building. Because here's the question. Like every other human on planet Earth, I did not like the Luka trade for the Mavs, right? So that's just a given. That was a terrible trade for them. Especially once Kyrie went down, there was a question of, should they just turn around and trade Anthony Davis? Because the whole idea of the AD, Kyrie, we're going to defense wins championships, all the stuff Nico was selling, Kyrie was going to be gone for such a stretch. AD obviously was injury prone and went out again quickly too, and all of that stuff. That was never going to happen with Nico because he did not want to turn around and admit that he was wrong with this terrible Luka trade. He got so much crap for it. Ownership probably wasn't ready to acknowledge that either. I think they took too long to fire Nico because that opinion, because he was just hell bent on proving that a bad Luka trade was actually a good trade. His interests were just no longer in the interests of the franchise. He couldn't see clearly. I think they should have gotten rid of Nico over the summer, and I think they should have traded AD over the summer. So this is my predisposed biases, right? I think once you get Cooper Flagg, you build around Cooper Flagg. You got a tremendous 1.8% stroke of luck. You build around Cooper Flagg, and you just go from there. They didn't do that. AD has come back. He's playing well. Here's the thing, though, Evan. They have their first round pick this year. They do not have another first round pick until 2031. Or sorry, their own pick. They don't control their own first round pick until 2031. If you do not build around Cooper Flagg, you will never be near the top of the Western Conference. The Western Conference is too good. Why is Oklahoma City good? Why were you saying that they were all 9 deep? Because they have been able to build young players around Shea. Why have, all of these other teams that have built around youth been able to play well? What is Houston doing? What are some of these other teams doing? What are the Spurs building around Wemby? He's got these 2 young guards with him. If you cannot build around your star young player, and I love Nembhard as a start, he's only 22, you're not getting anywhere. Now you're on the 2 timelines thing like the Warriors tried, which didn't work. AD's back now, but how long is he going to be back for? How long is he going to play the 5 for? He, part of the reasons that come out that the Lakers, were actually looking a little bit for a trade for him was because he had complained so much about playing the 5. I just don't know. They've been not these aren't great teams they've been beating. I just don't know what you're trying to do there, big picture. And I think if you went for it in this draft, if you trade Anthony Davis, if you tell Kyrie to take his time coming back, if you get some draft picks and a lot of draft picks back for AD as opposed to trying to trade for another star or something like that. What if you added Cameron Boozer to Cooper Flagg? What if you added some of these young guys? It's not just the top 3. You know better than me. It's not just the top 3 in this incoming draft that are good. It's the top 20 that are good.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Right? And I just don't know what the Mavericks are doing, and they don't have a GM right now. I just...
like you said, people, you just got to take the walk of shame, and they don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Right. And we're all kind of looking. It's like, bro, it's over. Y'all messed up. Somebody, you already fired the person that you're going to. It's over. And I think one thing we have to keep in mindset for when we be realistic as well, it's like, bro, there's only a few teams that can really win a championship. There's only a few organizations that really try to win a championship. You know what I mean? So you don't want to do the stuff where it's like, hey, like I said, if AD is going to stay, maybe making a playoff run is going to be satisfiable to him, but it's going to be at the point where you're like, we don't have our own pick. So when you sit there, it's like, hey, we all had fun, but we're all still going down. I'm into rebuilding with Cooper Flagg and letting him find his way as an alpha, as opposed to having to somewhat sit down or go and see all right, we're going this way with AD. You heard what Nembhard said one day. So I think we try to give the ball to AD too much and we force fed it. You understand what I'm saying? On top of the fact that if you wait for Kyrie to come back, Kyrie's elite. But Kyrie needs a dominant 1A while he's 1B to sweep up, because just the size right now, the size and everything like that. But even then, coming back off an ACL injury isn't ideal either. And I just think if you do get the right picks, like you said, if Cooper Flagg develops the way he is, if it's anything where like Wemby, I mean, we're talking Wemby got it cracking in a season and a half.
Yeah.
Like he got everything back going in probably like 18 months. And now is, you know what I mean? Now they're at the top of, you know what I mean, the West doing their thing. They have a lot of other young talent that's elite. So you're absolutely right. I'm with you. I'm with you on the tank part for sure.
Look, this one's tough. I mean, it's tempting, right? I mean, first of all, things have just been bad in Dallas for the last, 8 months, however long it's been since the Luka trade. That, every win in that building must feel nice. AD, when he's playing well, he's still, an elite player in this league. So it must feel nice for fans to be like, oh, and ownership, frankly, in the front office, frankly, in the locker room, frankly, of sort of, oh, okay, this is going well. And I think Kyrie is just so dazzling. And it's tempting. It's tempting to sit there and say, let's play it out this season. Let's see what we got with AD, and Kyrie's going to come back, and Cooper Flagg. And won't it be good for Cooper Flagg's development to be around those guys and feel what a playoff run, not playoff run, excuse me, what a getting into the playoffs might be. But the realistic view is that at best, this team is going to be a play-in team. That's it. If they can scrape into the first round, they're going to lose. They could get swept by Oklahoma City in the first round. You are not getting anywhere substantial with this team as it's built right now. And AD, the biggest streak of games since that trade that he has played healthy has been 5 games in a row. 5 games in a row. That's been the most he has played in a row since he got traded there. So yes, he's good right now. We know. We know, Evan. We know.
Yeah. And since before he came back, he only played like 15 games or something like that.
Yeah.
Since being traded last year, which is crazy. And I think, and we go further, if you did trade him and you're saying at very best with this team, it's a play-in game. Who says with a trade you can't get the right type of talent to make play-in again? Because literally all you have to be is the top 10, basically. Like,
right?
you know what I'm saying? It's not, you got to not be as bad.
It looks incredible already.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you put the guys that go on to play-in games are the teams that put together a streak right after All-Star break and say, hey, do we want to waste our time for the evening or no? Or do you guys want to go to Cabo early?
Right.
And it's usually a team like, you know what? I'll try to win a back-to-back, and I'll try to, you know what I mean? We'll try to ruin people's seasons. And I think the Mavs could possibly do that if they get the right type of pieces and trade.
This is the last season for the next, we're in 2025. I'm talking about 2031.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So 26 draft. So this is the last time in 5 years, as it's set up right now, that they have some control over how they can team build. And you lucked out into Cooper Flagg. He already looks fantastic. Once you took him off that very silly, in my mind, point guard experiment, he looks great. He's developing as you would hope that he could. And I just think I'm not saying you trade AD for a bucket of rocks, and I know there has to be a market out there for him, and there might not be what you want there to be. I wouldn't trade him for just anything. But I do think that every game you win with him, and where are you going? You have to look at the big picture here.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I call Chicago very quickly and just try to be like, wouldn't it be so great for Anthony Davis to come home? Wouldn't it be amazing? Don't you want to give us some draft picks?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when you sit here as well, granted, certain people hit their part of the career, and Anthony Davis is, I don't even want to say this in a negative sense. He's a prize fighter.
Right.
When you sit there, it's like, hey, we kind of all understand he's playing for something or he's not, because it's not like he doesn't care about basketball. He physically has to pick and choose his spots because, like we talked about the playing things earlier, his minutes, every minute is something. Every minute means we're not going to see him for 3 weeks, or we're going to see how great of a dresser he is. Like, you know what I mean? I love him, but I'm like, come on, baby, like send him somewhere good so we can all enjoy Anthony Davis, because it's
But that's also the point, by the way. I still think when he's on the court, AD is a monster.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
him, what if he got sent to the East? What if he went to? I'm not kidding. That Chicago, I think over and over is the best fit.
I know he's about to say it.
Right? If he goes to the East, he goes to Chicago, he can have a little bit of sort of his pride. Like, he's a prideful player. And to be on the other end of what everyone is calling the worst trade in NBA history sucks. It sucks to be that good a player. And people be like, oh, they traded for you? That sucks. That's the worst. Like, he doesn't like hearing that. That's terrible for him. That's a shame for him because he is a really great player. Let him go to Chicago, dominate. Maybe he becomes one of the best players in the East. Maybe whatever team he goes to becomes one of the best teams in the East. It'd be good for everyone.
You're right. Yep. He's trade him to Chicago, and then maybe Giannis ends up. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
I like
exactly.
That.
You know the Giannis talk. I do want to talk a little bit about James Harden because he, over the weekend, went into the top 10. He passed Carmelo Anthony for the 10 spot of scoring for all time. And I want to read you the list because it is just incredible, right? You've got LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, Wilt Chamberlain, Kevin Durant, and Shaquille O'Neal. And James's quote afterward was, I was looking at the list. All those guys are way bigger than me, way more athletic than me. He's one of only 3 guards in the top 10, along with Kobe and Jordan. And his quote was, they were flying. I mean, I've been playing everything on the ground. So that's another reason why I'm proud of myself, because I had to figure out how to maneuver around people. So first, I just want to ask you, you've played against him, right? What your whole career. What do you think about playing against James Harden? His off the court behavior influences how we think about him, but I think guys in the league think about him differently. So I just want to open the floor to you about what you thought about him making it into the top 10 and how guys around the league feel about James Harden, which might be different than some fans.
Yeah. James Harden's elite. Like, he's arguably, he's had some of the craziest games in NBA history that for whatever reason we just skip over. And it's like, wait, he just did 16 and what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we watched him go on Kobe type scoring runs where you're like, wait, we held him. By game 15, he finally didn't score 40 straight. Like, you know, like that type of stuff, all while sitting there and being like, yo, who gets 15 assists with their 40?
Right.
That is absolutely crazy. And we still owe him probably 2 MVPs.
Yeah. I mean, certainly. And the fact that he got one then puts him in a whole nother group of conversation. I was just looking at his step back numbers. So the step back, obviously, his bread and butter. There's an argument that just like, well, nothing's like Steph Curry and bringing in the 3 to the game, but it did. I think James Harden's step back definitely influenced how people play the game. Yeah. And I got my glasses on because I am looking at his numbers. So since 2013, 2014, which is when the data became tracked, which, by the way, doesn't even take into account his early years in the league, right? Yeah. So we're not even talking, we're even talking his whole career. Yeah. Just from 2013 season, he's made nearly 2,000 step back jumpers, scored more than 5,100 points off those shots, and that has outpaced any other player by more than 1,000 points. I've always really liked James and liked watching James, and I think that his off-court behavior, which I will acknowledge just like everyone else, has not been stellar at every point, has overshadowed what kind of player he is. And I think that he has matured since coming out here to LA. It's been a while, by the way. It's been a while since he left Philadelphia. And the stuff he did on that Adidas tour, talking about the Philadelphia front office, not good. The way he forced himself out of Houston and the behavior there, not good. But he has been a team guy since coming to the Clippers. And he's the only bright spot on that team this year.
Oh, I thought when you said off-court behavior, like I was thinking about something else. I'm like, you show up, he got the nicest car.
Are you talking about the strip clubs? Because I'm not even getting into that.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, when you sit there, you're like, damn, that boy living. Like, he got the nicest cars, you leave.
Right.
Yeah, it used to be like
I'm at the front office shenanigans.
Okay, no, I'm talking about like it'd be 8 of the baddest women waiting for him. I was like, bro,
I know it.
I'm like, oh, now that's the man. Like, that's what I used to think. I'm like, off-court shenanigans. I thought he was he needed a statue. That's what I thought. But yeah, all that other stuff that
no. I covered Michael Jordan. I do not begrudge anyone's off-court behavior. You do you.
Okay, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I was like, wait, hold on. I'm sitting there like, bro, this man, somebody got to do a documentary. He really the man for real. Yeah, okay, yeah, but all that, that business stuff, yeah, I can see how that messed up.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah, nah, all right, yeah, sure. You know what I'm saying? Sure, but I want to give credit to James because when you correlate all that off court stuff or where they try to tag you into, being negative, where your mental's at, his body's out of shape, like to be playing, he's 37, to be playing at this high of a level at 37 and to still be trying to carry the Clippers. So it's like, he's not complaining. He's like, I'm showing up every single night still.
Every day.
even when he left, even when he was in Philadelphia and there was moments where he didn't like it, he changed his game to be the best playmaker in the league. Like, if you want to say it, it's like, hey, Philly made it seem like I took a step back because they told me to only pass to Joel and average 18 and get 10 assists. Like, but he, unbelievable offensive player, unbelievable talent. And I think man, I think he did us all a favor, or they did us a favor where he got traded to Houston. We could see who the real James Harden was, because I remember saying this. I don't know, man. There's a very popular podcaster that told me 4 or 5 years ago, he's like, I would never say this publicly, but I got James Harden as the greatest shooting guard of all. Well, he said ahead of Kobe. He said ahead of Kobe.
Yeah, nobody can say that publicly. They'll be stoned.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I didn't say that. Actually, take
no,
this off.
I know you didn't. I'm just saying the reason why that person told you not publicly is because they would be stoned.
Yeah, he was like, I would never say this out loud because they would kill me. But he's like, James Harden is better than Kobe.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I would not go that far. But
that's what I heard. I wouldn't either.
I know you wouldn't either. But I will say, yes, exactly. But I will say this. I think that time is going to soften people's the people who have a negative opinion of him. Time will soften that. I think there are fans in Houston, there are fans in Philly who only remember the way he left, who maybe don't take into account in Houston, the MVP season and all the other seasons before that when he was a candidate. I think he was top 2 in MVP voting for 3 years in a row or something like that. Yeah. I would argue that Joel Embiid's MVP was that James Harden was partly responsible for that, and both agreeing to play the way he played and also sort of all those passes to Joel and the way he managed the offense to help Joel shine. So I think sometimes the way he leaves teams, fans sort of forget some of the stuff he's done for them. I just think that he is earning his place and that people are going to remember him down the road as not only one of the top 10 scorers of all time, but his point of the fact that he had to do it differently. Yeah. He is a big guy in width. I think that sometimes on TV it doesn't translate just how bulky he is.
He looked like a great, like somebody's uncle. Yeah, he's
exactly.
Like he's from the South. Like looks like he's from the South.
Sturdy. But he's right. You know, Kareem's on this list. Karl Malone's on this list. Dirk Nowitzki's on this list. Wilt Chamberlain's on this list. Like, he's not like that, right? Yeah. He's not Kevin Durant height. Like, I just think that he doesn't get a lot of credit in today's media environment where we pick apart everything. Yeah. And the way TV shows and radio shows and podcasts have used picking him apart for the front office relations stuff that he has done. And again, there's been some serious stuff. There's some teammates in Houston who will tell you how they feel like he quit on them. But I think that all of that tends to overshadow what he continues to do day in and day out. He's been one of the most durable players in this league in the time that he's been in it. And I was very happy to see him. You know, I love Melo too, obviously, but I was happy to see him move into the top 10. We'll have to see how much further he gets, how much more he plays. But I just want to give a little, at the end of the pod, like a little James Harden appreciation moment, because I think that it's due. And I'm thrilled that as a player, you feel the same way.
And also, too, I think we celebrate, and Luka's one of my favorite players. We celebrate Luka so much, and it's like you comprehend James was doing what Luka was doing for 5 or 6 straight years. Like,
absolutely.
And when we're saying it, like, as much as you love Luka, James had been doing it, and it almost made you put on notice, like, well, why does this mean world class and this other one means I don't know? But you know what I mean? But it just shows the greatness of great players and just even like the trend set, like, so he won't get lost in the sauce. Like you said, when they started documenting like the step backs from 2013, 2014, we're not even including a 6-man season.
Yep.
Or a season where he went to the NBA Finals with
NBA Finals in 2012. I mean, like all of that stuff, that doesn't even count that stuff.
Yeah. That was just freebies. And now he's still doing it right now. Elite. God bless you. And like, shoot, God bless him for getting his flowers, because he's unbelievable. Yeah.
And the people who are sort of like, oh, he draws all those fouls. And then there's the same chatter around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right now. That's also like, it's the game. They give you rules. You play within the rules you have, with the body you have and the skill you have. That's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do.
And also, it doesn't matter. You like coming from a man that could guard, you could not guard him. So it's not like he draws. So it's like, or else you'll be on the ground. The reason why he touched him was because you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like It does not. He wasn't supposed to be touching you. Like, he does a step back half the time. It does not matter. Like, he's one of those people where I had my best defensive game. We went to go look, and it's like, bro, he had 38. When we stopped the 40-point run, I guarded him that night, and he had 38.
Yeah, we did it.
We clapping hands and stuff, and then I went back to the locker room. I'm like, when did it get this bad for me? Like, do you understand? I'm like, when did it get so bad when I'm celebrating holding a man to 38 points? Like, yeah, he's like this. He's probably like, this dude is so terrible, but
no, not at all.
But not God bless.
Well, I don't know. Chris Mannix, I think, is going to be out the rest of the week because, again, his wife had a baby. Congratulations again to him. You and I will probably talk later in the week. At some point, we just have too much current stuff to talk about, but I think the world has not heard your "I saved another human's life" story enough. And I know it's past, and I know plenty of people have documented it, but at some point you know what, let's just do it now because we got a little bit of time left. Can we discuss how you saved someone's life? Because I just don't think people talk about that enough.
Oh, in the pool?
Yes.
When the truck fell in my pool. I don't want to give too much credit for myself. It was a group thing, but
for people who don't remember, because things is so fleeting in the NBA these days, and we seem to forget stuff that happened last year, a semi-truck fell off a cliff. And at the bottom of the cliff was Evan Turner's house, and Evan's pool. The guy fell into the pool and got trapped. And you call 911 and you rush out there, and you are holding him above the water because otherwise he would have drowned. Correct?
Yeah. So this is literally what occurred. I think the anniversary is coming up on December 16th.
That's part of what reminded me.
Yeah. So what occurred? Also, 7 a.m. I wake up. We just did like the Christmas celebration like a couple nights before, but the tree was so big, you just don't. You know how you put it up. You're like, I don't know if it's gonna fall. Yeah. So when I wake up, I just hear something just like kind of fall, and I'm like, damn, the tree fell. And then my chef is like, Evan, like a semi truck fell in your pool, and I'm like, a semi truck. I can't
even like that sentence. You hear that sentence. It's not real life, right?
Yeah, it was just too early. I'm like, semi-truck. I'm like, come on, bro. I don't got time for
Wait, it's too early? You say there's a good time for a semi-truck to fall?
No, I'm just saying, like, it's too early for bullshit. Like, period. Right. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, bro. Like, it's too early for all that. Right. So we sit there, like, oh my God, we gotta go, it might blow. So I'm like, I'll go wake up my friend. Like, my best friend's in the basement. And I'm like, yo, bro, wake up. Like, a truck might explode. We're gonna go out this way.
Yeah,
and go
that too,
truck.
yes.
Yeah, so I'm literally like, bro, I go save my friend. Like, I don't like when I see like outside, it looked like Armageddon. I don't know what it looked like outside my house.
That's a lot of fuel, by the way, in those tanks for the semi truck.
Yeah, so by the time we go back down, now we're trying to. My chef's out there. I called the cops, and then my buddy's out there. So now we see the dude's alive. Right. You know what I mean? So now when we're coming down,
how did that happen? If he had fallen on the ground like 10 feet over instead of the pool, there is no way he's alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that probably could have exploded.
Yeah, so if you went 7 feet to the left, he would have crashed into my kitchen. I would have been eating breakfast. He went through like a guardrail, and I had security trees. Mm-hmm. So like that kind of stopped his flow because he's coming downhill. And in Portland, they don't salt the roads because they don't want to mess with the fish. Yeah. So he's coming downhill. He's trying to skid. So he hits the guardrail, hits the trees, and luckily, like, it just dropped. So he dropped 20 feet. But had that not have been there, he would have flew and then flew down further to Montgomery Avenue. Ugh. So like where God was really looking out for him at was when he fell, the truck is kind of like twisted, but his legs wrapped around the steering wheel, but his back is enough for his back to get out for like a foot. Okay. And so when we were able to grab him, but then we had to move out the way because now the truck, we don't know if the truck is going to be too heavy. Yeah. So from there, we went and grabbed, the first responders came, then my chef Kenny had him, and then we were able to, so luckily God was looking out. He broke his hip, broke his leg and his ankle. And, man, and then, this was the wild part.
Wait, I'm sorry. This was the wild part?
Oh, no, because sometimes your job just don't understand personal business. So, like, when you call them, you like, hey, bro, I'm going to be a little late. Oh, no, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? I'm like, bro,
they give you a hard time.
They're like, a truck fell in my pool. So now they like, I'm like, bro, I'm dead ass serious. A truck fell in my pool.
Right. They're thinking like a pickup truck?
Yeah, they're just like, bro, this man gonna lie over anything and try not to get fined. So we had a game. So I just called my finance advisor. I'm like, hey, bro, like some shit didn't happen. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, you're insured. And I was like, okay, so what do I do? He's like, I guess just go to work.
Right?
Because by that time, like by the time I called, there's like 40 men in my house. Like my
right.
stairs
Cops, fire, whatever.
My stairs were ruined. There's mud all over. It's mud all over like everything. So it's like literally like, I'll see y'all when I get back.
Yeah, seriously.
And then truck stayed in the pool for like a week or so.
No, I didn't know that.
No, because you couldn't find a crane. You got to think it's an 18-ton truck. So they have to find a big enough crane to pick it up from like 20 feet out, like 20 feet drop. So every time they brought 2 different cranes and had to block off the street. So like the contractor would be like, Evan, we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's cool. By like day 2, I keep looking out the window. I just keep seeing him like look and just keep shaking his head. Like, I don't know what to do.
It's Christmas. You put up a nice tree. Behind the tree is now a giant semi-truck. Backyard's trashed. Your interior's trashed.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, right. I'm like, okay, insurance is about time to, you know what I mean? Show up and show out. Like,
I can't believe the Blazers gave you a hard time. Obviously, I'm sure for whoever was at the other end of the phone, it was just as hard for them to really understand what had happened as it was for you when your chef called out to you. I think what you guys did, the fact, again, the man's legs were wrapped around the steering wheel, so his head was out. And as I understand it, and as you just explained it, if there wasn't you and the chef to hold his head above water, he wouldn't have been able to like use his torso to get above the water, that he would have kind of just drowned there. So I want people to know we don't remember what happens in this league 5 minutes ago. This was 7 years ago. I don't think people talk enough about it. It was one of the craziest stories I've ever had to talk about on TV. And, it's a little Christmas. The anniversary is coming up. I just thought, we should mention it. I don't know how many times you and I are going to be together again this season. And we should mention the fact that one of the craziest things to happen in the last, 10 years of NBA off court stuff happened to you. And
and shout out to my chef Kenny James. That's Dame Lillard's cousin, so that's Damian Lillard's big cousin. So shout out to Punky. Because he was a real super. I'm like, dang boy, you been through this before? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he had everything set up. We got a key from the city for fire department and everything.
I would imagine you did. That was bananas. So, all right. Well,
Evan Turner, superhero.
Exactly. If you
vigilante.
If you were a younger NBA fan and you did not know this story before hearing this, go look up the pictures because they are insane. If you're older and you remember this, go look up the pictures again because they are insane. And Evan, I don't know if we're going to do this later in the week or not. So thank you for hanging out with me. I am no Chris Mannix, both in the positive and negative way.
No lie. And I'll send you a copy.
We love Chris.
And I'll send you a copy of the coffee table book I did of the crash.
Wait, what?
So before they pulled out, shout out to Bruce. Before they pulled the truck out my pool, I'm like, it's a tragedy. And the team photographer was like, I don't mean to be like an asshole, but hey, that might be worth documenting. So in my head,
it's not a tragedy because property being lost sucks, but I mean, I think it's a triumph.
No, of course. And it was dope, but I was just kind of like, bro, I haven't slept in days. It's like, well, I was like, bro, the truck is getting taken out at like 9 a.m. tomorrow. Right. I could be there at 7. I'm like, bro, what? And I was like, he's like, Evan, I think it'd be really cool. I don't mean to bother you, but he started showing me everything he shot in his portfolio. He's like, I even shot Barack Obama when he was here. And I'm like, all right. Like, all right, who am I to say no? Right. So, I'll send you a copy of it, though.
I would love that. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
We got drone footage and everything.
I love it. Well, I hope I see you in person sometime down the road. And good luck. You're doing, what game are you doing?
Illinois versus the Ohio State on Peacock tomorrow at 7:30.
Boom. Look for Evan. All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. All right.